We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. We wanted to hit on this. Over the next few weeks, you're going to be hearing us talk a lot and with a lot of different guests about this whole scenario going on with the Chicago White Sox, the 78th and 35th and Shields. What's going on with Jerry Reinsdorf going down to Springfield looking for public money to build a brand new stadium for the Chicago White Sox. But while that is going on, one of the other things that we've been focusing on is what's going on with the Chicago Bears, Arlington Heights, and the lakefront, specifically the South Lot. And a lot of rumors, a lot of different speculation has been going on. And what exactly Kevin Warren, the McCaskies, the Chicago Bears, and Cook County Board are going to do, what kind of deal is going to be made? Where are the Bears going to be playing in their new stadium? And this article that comes to us from hoodline.com puts a little bit more perspective of what exactly is going on in this situation. This comes to us from Richard M. Sullivan. The future home of the Chicago Bears remains in limbo after the Cook County Board of Reviews set the property tax valuation much higher than the team's estimates, according to reports. The Bears have expressed their disappointment with the decision that leaves them with substantial tax bill, potentially throwing a wrench in plans to develop a new stadium in Arlington Heights. The Chicago Sun-Times reported that the board put the value of the former Arlington International Racecourse property at $124.7 million, resulting in the Bears facing an annual tax bill estimated between $10 million and $11 million. The figure stands in stark contrast to the lower valuation range the Bears had advocated for, between $60 million and $71 million, and is far less than the $160 million that local school districts believe the property was worth. Despite the setback, the Bears signaled their resolve to forge ahead. Quote, "We reviewed the effects of this decision. We will continue to work with local municipalities to select the best location for the future stadium of the Chicago Bears that will bring a transformative opportunity to our region, boosting the economy, creating jobs, and generating millions in tax revenue," the team said in a statement obtained by the Sun-Times. George Cardenas, one of the commissioners who voted for the $124.7 million figure, justified the decision based on equity. Quote, "Our decision for the Bears Stadium site is about fairness to the Bears and fairness to Arlington Heights taxing bodies," Cardenas told the Chicago Sun-Times. The Bears, on their part, felt their offer were more than generous, considering they had, quote, "offered to pay more in taxes on vacant land with no commercial usage than site generated with a fully operational racetrack. But our offers have been rejected," according to their statement. This disagreement comes as the team also entertains potential sites closer to the city of Chicago. With a 30-day window to appeal the board's judgment, the Bears leadership stands at a pivotal decision point. They could either challenge the board's ruling or potentially aim their sights at other locales that could be more financially favorable. So there's a lot to break down there, right? And I think the first thing I want to tackle is the statement made by the Bears that it's going to drive the economy, that it's going to drive tax revenue. No, it's not. That is such a lie, such a falsehood that these billionaires say to taxpayers, to lobbyists, to politicians. It's not been proven that any new stadium has generated anything besides a lot of money for the owner of the new stadium. But understanding that, right, I think in this case, compared to Jerry Reinsdorf, where it's just a blatantly a con done by Jerry Reinsdorf, what's going on with the Bears does make sense. There is this idea of bringing the Super Bowl, March Madness, WrestleMania, concerts, everything in between, all the hotels, what you could do with IDOT. There is a lot of revenue that can be generated, but you can take away the idea of location. If they can find a deal and they can work with Friends of the Parks and they can get this deal done with Mayor Johnson, we do understand the McCaskies are going to pay for the stadium itself. It's all the other infrastructure that we're going to need help with. And this is where the push and pull comes from, being a taxpayer and being a fan, and where everybody has to play their part. I think in general, the idea of what's going on with the Bears and moving to Arlington Heights has better prospects than what you're hearing about what's going on with the 78th and the Chicago White Sox. But to also understand that everybody needs to get their beaks wet. The Arlington Heights School District should get paid X amount of money. And I think what's more infuriating than anything else is the short-sightedness of this. If you're getting taxed 10 to $11 million, which of course to anybody else is just unfathomable amounts of money, for the Chicago Bears, that's nothing. And when I mean nothing, I mean nothing. They wouldn't even tell that they lost that in the books. And for that to be the holdup, for that to be the reason why this story continues to be what it is, which is a bunch of nonsense. We don't have renders. There's no shovels to the ground. We've been talking about this story for years now. And it's so much of Chicago sports, Chicago politics, something that should be so easy that we have seen multiple different cities do, that it's taking this long. And it drives the stereotype of what happens in this city, in this state. Now, I commend what had happened down in Springfield, and not just the automatic yes to give Jerry Reinsdorf this new stadium. I don't like what I've heard from Mayor Johnson about his thoughts on what the White Sox are going to do. But I do think you can make a legitimate argument on why it's better for the Bears to move to Arlington Heights. If they were smart 20 years ago, 30 years ago, this wouldn't be a conversation and they would be on the lakefront still. But just like everything here in this city, they messed that up. Well, now they have a golden opportunity. Some of this you give the pass of it's just business. They're all just trying to use leverage. But it's already spring of 2024. And we're nowhere near closer to knowing where the Bears are going to play than we were 5 years ago, 4 years ago. And bringing in Kevin Warren is a monkey wrench in this equation, because he's going to be somebody that's not attached to the city of Chicago. He's not attached to the Bears. He's not attached to when the Bears bought the Arlington racetrack land. So he's somebody who's going to come in looking with fresh eyes and not rose-colored glasses, and he's going to look for the best deal possible for his bosses, for his pockets. So I think there's a lot to look into this story. And we're going to be covering this for the next few weeks, the next few months here on the Sports Cubicle. We're looking to have on some amazing experts and guests that can really break this down, because there's been so many gaslighting by billionaires to fan bases, to taxpayers, to citizens, promises of all this income that you never see. You don't get to rent out Wrigley Field, U.S. Cellular, Guaranteed Rate, Comiskey Park, United Center. You don't get to do all that. So we want to make sure that here on the Sports Cubicle, with these conversations, we're just not looking at it as, oh, look at the pretty picture. Look at the pretty rendering. Did you see the skyline? Oh, it'll be awesome to watch this big event here. No, we have to look out for the schools, hospitals. Everything that makes the city world class needs to be taken care of first before we give billionaires all these deals. And when they're already willing to negotiate and to work with you, then it's up to everybody to find the best deal for everybody involved. Most importantly, the citizens of the state of Illinois. So hopefully, what we hope are smart people get together and figure out the best situation for everybody. But it seems to me, just like usually everything that's been going on, the taxpayers, the average Joes, the family are the ones who are going to pay for this. We got more coming up next here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm Mike Mercado.